Hi,
Can you hear me?
how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, this Zoom stuff is killing me.
You and me both, I understand. Can
I
you
don't
see me?
know how to. Yeah. For some reason, I can't figure it out to connect with Facebook, so it's a whole thing. But it's okay. All right. So I am recording this. I think I'm just gonna just be the two of us, and then I'll just post it live.
Okay.
Post it in the group after. That way,
Okay,
less pressure. I can trim it if we need to.
exactly.
Yeah. How's your trip to Colombia?
Oh, it was the trip. Yeah, it was good. We went to Kiowa, so it was fun. Got back this
Cool.
afternoon.
I will get your cash prize over to you. I'm finalizing stuff from the weekend. I wanted to let you know I saw that.
Okay.
Um, cool. All right, let me pull up my questions here. All right. So just expand as much as you want, or as little as you want, I guess, too. So I've got about 10 questions or so
Okay.
in here.
Yes.
11
11. Okay.
questions. All right. So I will start the recording now.
Okay.
All right. Welcome, Terri. Thanks for joining me. Glad to have you here tonight.
Glad to be
How's
here.
everything going?
Everything's great. Hope it is with you.
Good. Awesome. So just wanted to kind of recap our time working together. I know you've been in the group for about a year now since it's been live, and have participated in a handful of challenges and have won 2 of them. And so we've worked together in the past. As part of your winning was free coaching with me. Just wanted to talk a little bit about that, your results, where you were at beforehand, and go from there. So I guess first of all, so we started working together, I want to say, was it February or so of last year?
Yes.
And we worked together for 2 months. Is that right?
Yeah, 2 or 3, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to jog my memory. So before we started working together, obviously, think back to last February. Can you describe kind of where you were at from a health and fitness standpoint before working together?
Well, I've always been in the gym. I've always loved to work out, and I ate pretty healthy. But I think your challenge, of course, prompted even more of that.
Right. And so kind of coming to me beforehand, if I'm remembering correctly, I was trying to go through our notes before the call. Do you remember where you were at from like a calorie standpoint before we started working together?
Yes, I was definitely in a deficit. I was working out more than, and I was burning a lot of calories, but I wasn't taking in enough protein.
Right. So I think if I remember back, you were around maybe 1,100 or 1,200 calories a day is kind of what you were at when we started working together, and then
Yes.
you started to track. I think that the number. Does that sound
Yeah,
accurate to you?
yeah, that's the right number.
Okay. And then before we started working together, I guess thinking back to the first challenge that you did, which I believe was a protein focused challenge. So the Crush Your Protein Challenge. What was your kind of primary goal or reason for getting into that challenge?
Well, just to learn more about the protein and the sleep and the hydration and the working out and all of that tying together to just make me healthier. And you did a great
Awesome.
job of all teaching me all of that.
Thanks. And so then when we started working together, I believe some of the goals were around just like energy and just a little bit around like aesthetics. Is there anything specific that
Mhm.
you wanted to focus on before we started working together after the challenge, right before we started working together from a coaching standpoint?
Well, one thing you taught me was I was overworking my body. I was doing too much stuff. I was in too many classes, lifting, um, kickboxing, doing all that stuff. So basically, you kind of reset all that for me and um, upped my calories. And I started immediately noticing a change through my waist. Of course, the muscle definition from all the protein and all the hydration. I'm sleeping better. It just all came together.
Right. Yeah. So talk to me about what you were doing beforehand, fitness wise. You touched on it, but I want to go into a little more detail
Okay.
there because this is very common with a lot of people that I work with and talk to.
Right.
So you were doing boot box or kickboxing, sorry. Um, what other kind of workouts or cardio were you doing?
It was a class called Body Pump or Power. It's real high repetition weights, an hour class. I was doing some core stuff like in another class, a little bit of yoga, definitely overworking myself, I think. and but I've always been in the gym, but you just showed me how to realign all that.
Awesome. Yeah. So you were, putting in like 5 or 6 days a week, really high intensity,
Mhm.
while also at the same time in this, 1100 to 1200 calorie range, um, for a really long period of time, right? So typically tends to be the bigger issue is how long you stay in there. And it becomes, for a lot of people, that just becomes the new normal, and that's where their body tends to operate. So I do remember we worked together on that a lot, and so you mentioned it. Um, we moved you gradually from about 1100 or so calories up to, I believe we ended around 1700, close to 1800, um, over the course of the 12 weeks. And
Mhm.
so that was about a 500 calorie jump. It's not usually easy for a lot of people to do, especially female clients. So did you have to focus on specific foods or anything differently to be able to eat that much more food? Especially because you're very petite, so you're already naturally smaller. And so did you have to focus on different types of foods, or how did you kind of get those extra 500 calories a day?
Mostly just I kept an eye on everything that I ate through your chronometer. Definitely, your nutrition guides really helped me a lot in your workouts. And it was amazing because I was a little worried about upping the calories to 500 more. It seemed like a lot, and especially all of the carbs. Um, I think
Yeah.
for women myself also seemed like a lot, but it all worked out just fine. I mean, like I said, I saw the waist starting to get smaller, um, and I saw the muscle tone happening because of all the protein. And I don't think I was drinking enough water. My sleep was not quite what it needed to be, and
Yeah. So we worked on a lot.
yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. So once you kind of started to work on those things individually, how did you start to feel, both physically and mentally?
Oh, I felt great. My energy was times three. It was amazing. Upping the calories and getting the proper workout without overworking my body, and it was amazing. The energy just was there.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I believe, as we ramped you up, so there's always the challenge when you start to increase someone's calories, of doing it at an appropriate amount. week by week. Otherwise, some people can tend to can put on weight if they do it too quickly, or there's different triggers or sodium or water levels that are off. So it's a lot that's kind of there. But I think right away when we started to increase your calories with the programming that you were doing in the gym, so we switched you to 3 days a week of lifting weights, so doing a lot of free weight work and dumbbells and barbells mostly. You actually started to see, like you said, inches coming off your waist, so you're shrinking, like your
Yeah.
waist was getting smaller, and I believe you even over the course of the 12 weeks you lost weight. Is that right?
Yes, I lost 6 to 8 pounds. It was amazing.
Oh,
And I was
that's
more,
awesome.
working out less.
So you're doing less work, you were eating more, and you were losing weight and feeling better and higher energy.
Yes, you're magic.
That's great. That is so great. Awesome. So did you face any specific challenges yourself when it came to eating that much more food?
No, because you did it gradually. So it wasn't like all of a sudden I had to eat a lot more. We over that gradual period, it actually gave me more energy.
Awesome. And I believe I always preach, and I know you were really great at this from a client standpoint, because it always is a two-way street. So I can, coach as much as I want, but at the end of the day, it's the client that has to do the work and has to execute. And so, you know, easy to work with. You listened and implemented to a T. And so I think when we talked, our focus was supposed to be on trying to get those extra calories from whole foods. So
Yes.
sometimes people think, oh, I should eat more. So then, they go out and the restaurant or to fast food, or pick up like random convenient snacks at the store, and that's kind of their extra calories. But a lot of times that can give you upset stomach, etc. It can hurt your digestion a lot. And so I believe, we focused more on whole foods.
Yeah.
And so was there like a typical meal or recipe that you added in when you started eating more that, you would make it part of your everyday now, or something that was easy to do to get you up to that 500 calorie mark?
Well, I think my trick was to add the healthy Greek yogurt, the plain, into the low fat, sometimes a little bit more fat cottage cheese with a sprinkle of the raw honey and cinnamon was my go-to because I could up my protein easily that way. But yeah, I stayed on a regimen. I would start with eggs and turkey bacon in the morning, and I'd always drink a lot of water. I'd drink water before I ever ate, um, and then I'd work out and I'd have a protein drink, and then I would have a healthy lunch of tuna or 10 almonds. Remember that?
Yeah, you counted them out very specifically.
Definitely. It's so easy if you don't. But and then I'd have I ate about every couple of hours. I would have something protein related, and it was a
Awesome.
tremendous help. I'd always have hard boiled eggs
Great.
on standby.
Yeah.
And it's also, I
Yeah,
think,
that's great.
if you have healthy snacks around you when you're traveling and stuff in the car, then you don't tend to go through a drive through.
Yes, totally agree. Yeah. And then your cottage cheese point, I have a newfound recipe that I've been probably for like the last 2 months. I've been eating it like every night. And I'll post a photo in the
Okay.
group, but I I put probably, gosh, a cup of cottage cheese. So I do like the low fat, um, the low fat cottage cheese, and then I'll do some of the cheesecake Jello um, packet with a splash of like stevia, and I'll blend it. in a blender and it tastes like cheesecake. And it's like an easy, like 20, 25 grams of protein.
That sounds fabulous. I learned a new trick too. I in my NutriBullet, I'd crack 2 or 3 eggs and put like a tablespoon of cottage cheese in there and a splash of water, and then I scramble them or put them in the microwave, and it's amazing. They're almost like a souffle, and they're real light.
That is a great hack. I have a little NutriBullet. I need to
Yeah,
try that. That's a good one.
it's really good in the microwave for like 30 seconds. Looks like a souffle, and you stir it another 30 seconds, and it's fabulous.
That's great. So now that you're here, you know, you're on the other side of working with me, and you kind of, you know, being educated and knowing how much you need the right kind of exercise and strength training. Do you have long-term goals or fitness goals now moving forward, or what's kind of next for you?
Well, not working out. I'm still in the gym like 3 or 4 days a week. I'm not in there, 5 or 6 or 7 times a week like I was. I eat kind of on a schedule. I eat very healthy, and you've helped me with all that. Thank you.
Awesome. Then my last question, what advice would you give to others that are looking to get started or are at now where you were before we started working together?
Well, I think in your own mind, you can make it harder than it is. And I just trusted the process. I was Googling recipes. I knew somewhat how to eat pretty healthy, but and just backed off what you said about backing away from the gym a little bit more, and doing it on a schedule. Still lifting heavy, which I love barbells and dumbbells, but
Hmm.
but doing it on a schedule, less days, but more, sometimes more weight.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's super overwhelming and hard for a lot of people just to get started because there is so much information out there and a lot of it is competing information, right? So you see one person on Facebook or Instagram or whatever saying this, and then you have another person saying the opposite. And then there's all these different areas that all kind of gel together or impact the other, like you were talking about earlier. So there's obviously nutrition, there's the fitness piece, there's hydration, sleep, stress, and at the very bottom of that pyramid is things like supplements. And I think a lot of people usually put the supplements at the top rather than at the bottom where they should be.
Yes.
But there's all that competing information, so it can be really overwhelming just to even get started. Or if you have been working out, or someone that's like in your case has been going to the gym a lot in the past and was just kind of like stuck in this plateau and felt like they were just doing more and more and needed to keep doing more and more. It can be hard for sure to kind of know what to do next. And so tricky, but that's why people like myself exist, to distill all of it and get it all packaged up and be able to coach people through their challenges.
Well, you do a great job of doing that. And I'll never forget the first challenge when you upped my steps to, I was already hitting 10,000 a day, but then you upped me to more than that. Wasn't that right?
Yeah, a 20% increase. So we got you up to 12,000, I think, the
Yeah.
first time.
And so you've trained me well. Now I'm up to 16 to 18,000.
That's just taking over for your extra hours in the gym.
That's right. But really, if you just compete, if it's just you against yourself in your own mind, because you do so good in your group about people sharing things and stuff, and it's easy to give people encouragement, and that's what you need, and when you're doing a challenge.
Yep. Awesome. Well, with that, any last words or anything you want to end with before we wrap up?
No, I'm here to help if you ever need me, and if you do another challenge, I'm all in. So keep
Awesome.
sharing.
I know you'll be there.
Yeah, keep sharing your recipes, and I'll do the same.
Alrighty, I will. Thank you for your time. It was
You're wel-
nice chatting with you and catching up.
Always.
And I'll see you in the group.
Okay, sounds great. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Alrighty.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Terry.